See now? I don't want to risk losing this on the floor. So I'll start again. A warm welcome to all of you. Very happy to see all of you. We're going to talk about art and creativity. Usually we think about art and creativity as something very positive, as something which gives life, as something which is very constructive. You want me up there?
I want them to see your face.
You want them to see my face? Okay. I don't know if that's any big experience, but well, what I wanted to say is that when I think about life, when I think about art and creativity, I think about something which has life, which has hope, which has strength and construction. It's something positive. Today, we are going to speak about art and creativity in many, many ways, but in particular, we're going to talk about it in the context of trauma. Not just any trauma. It's in the context of helping people who have experienced severe human rights violations, crimes against humanity, war crimes, and genocide. Welcome to the group. Have a seat. So when we talk about art and creativity today, it will be in this very heavy, very painful context. And we are so proud and so pleased that we are having some very fine colleagues with us today to talk about their experiences and their work, the ongoing work with children, with adults, with families in Palestine, in particular in Gaza, as the war is raging, working on these matters and working with the hope that creativity and art can contribute. We know that art in many places is important in situations of crisis, of fear, of war, because often it's difficult to find the words. I'm a psychologist myself. I've been working with clients, refugees with severe experiences of torture, human rights violations, and they often say words are not enough. Words cannot cover the stories that we have, and that's true. So finding other ways of expressing what they have experienced is so important. And also many times words is prohibited. You're not allowed to say the words. This happens even in so-called democratic states today. People saying, talking, people even marching in demonstrations for Palestine are being arrested, even canceled, lose their jobs. So words are threatened, even in democratic countries, let alone in war and in conflict, as what we see ongoing in Palestine. So this is why it's so important for us, especially those of us who are here at the Department of Psychology, who want to develop more psychology, more ways of helping people, more ways of supporting people. It's so important for us to learn, to be able to discuss, to talk. So the panel that we have put together today consists of 5 very wonderful people that I will shortly introduce, and I will also ask each and one of them to say something about themselves and the main aspects of their work. But for you to understand what kind of invitation this is and by whom, I will ask Beate to take over and take this microphone, and I will come back to you to moderate the conversation in a moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Nora. I won't keep you long. I just wanted to say this is an event organized by Solidarity Hub, and I'm so proud of all the students. Solidarity Hub has been holding here at Psychological Institute, University of Oslo for almost 4 years now. And our particular angle is to support people exposed to war and conflict with working with colleagues, working with initiatives that can help trauma-exposed populations, particularly children and adolescents. And over the years, we have worked with Ukraine, with Palestinians, with Colombia, with Pakistan. And we have talked to many colleagues and learned a lot. And I just want to invite students both here locally, also globally, to inquire about Solidarity Hub, learn about us, join us, or support us in any way you see possible. We are doing this journey together, and Solidarity Hub is what the individuals who join it are focusing on, are bringing in also as creativity. So today is the result of a group effort, really, but in particularly Dilare, who has pushed this initiative forward. And this new angle on art and creativity has come through our conversations with people who are on the ground doing the work, and stressed how important this is. We didn't have that as a focus before. So I'm very glad to always learn and expand, bringing people together, networking. Thank you everyone for coming today and joining us online. I know it's a busy time of year. I hope you all will learn something today. And back to, and I wanted to say one initiative we have is together with Safwa Diab. We have developed a brochure for parents in Gaza to support their children, and simple advice, simple but profound advice that we do want to print, and we have various ways of collecting money through GoFundMe, through Vips, through PayPal. There are posters here where that you can scan and learn more about this. You can reach out to Solidarity Hub and contribute to this initiative. That's it.
Thank you, Beate. And I think it's good to know that we are at a university where all this is possible. There are universities in the world where it would not be possible to have a Solidarity Hub, to have a professor here clearly with a statement around her shoulders. So it's we should be glad for that in these dire times. I forgot to introduce myself. I will now introduce someone who are far more interesting, but I will just say very quickly, my name is Nora Sveos. I used to be a professor here at the department. I'm now retired, but the world still needs activists, so here I am. I'm now very pleased to introduce our panel, and or I would say our conversations partners. And I will, Rami, as we have you online, start with something that you have said once, which I find so amazing. You say that healing doesn't happen in isolation, it begins in community. And as someone who has lived through and worked amidst trauma and occupation, I believe that the transformative power of psychosocial support, art, collective care is to rebuild identity, dignity, and hope. And I think these are very fine words because that is our aim and ambition. Whether we are psychologists, human rights defenders, artists, or of different kinds, we want to rebuild dignity, identity, hope, and of course, collectivity and trust. Because if there's one thing that breaks down during war and conflict, it is trust in each other. So this needs to be rebuilt. And I think art and different forms of expressions of art are very good vehicles to obtain this. So Rami, you're an expert on mental health and psychosocial support and community-based cultural engagement. You hold a master in human service administration and a process management and improvement certification from the University of Chicago. You have led national psychosocial support responses in Palestine, and you also founded ANAR for empowerment and psychosocial support. You have over 15 years of experience developing inclusive programs for people with disabilities, survivors of political violence, and vulnerable children and youth. Rami's leadership spans academia, grassroots community work, emergency response, and the arts. So I will actually like to have you say some words first now, Rami. Could you tell us perhaps the most important driving force in your work today? And I'll give you 5 minutes before I introduce the others also to give them some words to say. So please, Rami, the floor is yours. Wish you welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me with you today. My name is Rami Khadir. I'm the director of ANAR, an organization that is based in Bethlehem, Palestine, and we work mostly in the West Bank. To answer your question, I would say at the heart of Anar's work is a belief that art is not only therapeutic, but also a tool of freedom and resistance. A language through which children and adults can proclaim their voices and rewrite their narratives that has been stolen from them. In a context where injustice, and oppression attempt to silence the human spirit, creative expression becomes an important act of revolt, an important act of justice, and a pathway toward liberation. And not only the liberation from the Israeli occupation, but also the liberation from oppression and injustice that kills the spirit and the heart of people and communities. Through theater, storytelling, music, and visual arts, Anar creates spaces where individuals can process pain, comfort, truth, and imagine what justice would look like. Even at times where we know justice is not possible and therefore healing is not possible, we try to imagine it through the beautiful and expressive art. Healing is not separate from our dignity, our justice. It's a collective journey toward restoring humanity, hope, and the freedom to fuel, create, and dream again for our children. And let me be here clear. When we talk about healing and psychosocial support for children in Palestine, we have to begin with an honest acknowledgement of the context we live with. In times of oppression and continuous exposure to violence, systematic oppression, military occupation, and genocide, the ability of us to recognize trauma or even to reflect on our pain becomes very limited because it becomes part of who we are on a daily basis. For many of our children, distress has become part of their daily life, a normal reaction to abnormal circumstances, such the genocide in Gaza. But when trauma becomes normalized, we can no longer rely on traditional therapeutic tools alone, such as talk therapy. That's the reason why at Anar we learned that healing requires more than talking about pain. It requires new languages that can hold the pain safely, and this is where art fits in. Art for us is not only therapy, it's a language of healing. It gives children and caregivers a way to express what words cannot hold. Through drawing, movement, play, theater, dance, children become able to touch on their feelings. They have long silenced fear, anger, hope, and even joy. Art creates a distance that allows them to approach pain without being consumed by it. It becomes a bridge between silence and expression. But art must also be sensitive. The tools we use need to reflect on children's realities without re-traumatizing them. I'll give you one example that we have seen in our work. Most of the children we work with has been exposed to violence by Israeli settlers. Some children have been detained by Israeli military as well. Many of them, they are unable, for instance, especially the ones who have been into the prison system in Israel. And here I'm talking about children 12 to 18 years of age. Many of them, talk therapy did not work easily once they got released. So having them to draw their experiences, to reimagine their feelings really helped us in the therapy room. It helped us, but sometimes we had to acknowledge that children have been forced by the Israeli military to sign their confessions. So for them, drawing sometimes can be triggering. Signing can be triggering. Writing notes can be triggering. So we have to acknowledge what can be triggering, even if it is arts as well.
Thank you.
And
Thank you. Yes, we will come back with many questions, both from the panel and I'm sure from the audience also. But thank you very much for introducing your very important and strong work. And I will now say welcome to you, Mai. Mai, you are a Palestine visual artist and you are based in Cape Town. Your practice is moving between painting, memory-based storytelling, and exploring visual archives connected to displacement and belonging. Through portraiture and personal narratives, you're trying to document the emotional landscape of Palestinians in exile, and create spaces where memory resists erasure. For you, art is not only a way of expression, but also a form of preserving lived histories, honoring resilience, and holding space for collective healing. And I think these words of introduction might just says something about the importance that you give to history. And at least for me, who have been doing research myself on transitional justice and reparations history and how it is told, and being able to hear it is so important. So thank you so much and welcome. And I'll give you also in 4 or 5 minutes, and then we come back to you in the discussion. The floor is yours.
Thank you for having me today. I'm May, Palestinian visual artist. I worked with art therapy with children, theater therapy in Palestine during the genocide in Gaza, and especially in Rafah, and even in Egypt. I worked with them. For me, art, it's like when we don't have tool to speak, this is my tool. And if I want to speak without speaking, this what I can do, or this what I prefer to do. And because it have a really, really huge effect in all over the world, not just if I want to speak in English, people who understand English will understand. If I want to speak Arabic, people who are speaking Arabic, they will understand. But art is the way to speaking, and everyone will understand you. And at the same time, it's way to resilience now in the situation that we are in now, and even before the genocide. We really have a lot of things we want to speak about, and a lot of things that we want people all around the world know about Palestine and what the Palestinians themselves suffer. But unfortunately, this is the only, after what happens now, all around the world know, but this is not the way that we want them to know. So we are speaking now because it's way to document what's happening now. As a picture, the journalist, the artist, all of this, it's all way to resilience. So yeah.
Thank you so much. You talk about stories and resilience. We will come back to these points in our conversation. Now I'm very pleased to introduce Rasmi Damo. You're a Palestinian artist, cultural practitioner from Gaza. You're holding a BA from nursing, a diploma in arts therapy, and professional training in arts performance and cultural activities. Over the 20 last years, you have directed numerous short animation films and developed pioneering creative arts projects for children affected by extreme trauma, including those who have witnessed the bombing, killings, war, displacement, imprisonment, and violence. Events that really no child should experience, and if they do so with wounds. Since 2001, you have created and managed theater company, curated cultural events, written and produced animation films, and staged political theater productions in Gaza, confronting realities of occupation and conflict through art. And in 2016, you authored and produced animation methodology book as a tool for social healing and trauma expression. And you have also established a cultural company in France, expanding to support work with migrants and refugee children in Europe. applying animation-based educational methods. So again, welcome, and the floor is yours. And I understand you're showing us a little film now, or, well, I'll give you at least the floor.
Yeah, you want me to show the film now and start after, or I start?
Yes, Hilary says yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's start the,
Can start the film?
So we will start
But
with,
let me just
Yeah.
say a few words. I want to say thank you for having me here today with you, and I would like to make this day a little bit special by telling some stories. And because I believe that art is an action. It's not just words to. It's working.
no, it's just better. It's this.
Yes. It's not working.
See that right more.
I'm not familiar with that.
Is it unmuted? It's good.
Want me to scream?
No. Give you the normal microphone.
This one? I think it's better.
Yes.
So as I said, I think art is something to share because it's all about stories. To make any piece of art, you have to be connected to the community that you are going to talk about. I would like to tell you just a few words about myself. I'm coming from Gaza, and Gaza is a really close society. I started my career doing theater in the very beginning, and I learned from that art is not separate of reality. It goes with reality, because with art we are telling and sharing the stories of people, and in Gaza it's a quite different because we are sharing our stories. We are not talking about the stories of others. We are talking about our stories. So it's a quite different because telling the story in an artistic way is a kind of reshaping the story, and share it with others so they can um, deeply look at it and hear it, and then it gives the story gives art gives the stories more than hearing it. It gives the stories the how you feel it, how you feel the details of these stories, and it's a kind of learning life. This for me it's part of my life. It's not part of my work that I'm doing. It's part of my life. This is how arts and stories that belong to arts reshape my life and my thinking, my way of thinking. No? So but today I would like to share some stories as examples, like we are going to share the last story that I experienced this week. Actually, this week during my traveling, it was running this story, and I'm really happy. I want to watch it with you right now because I did not really feel it because it was running, and I did the translation just this morning for this. So it's not the final edition of what we are going to see, but of course I will share the final edition with you later. And the last thing I wanted to share with you about watching the movie together is that this movie and this experience, I insist to share it today because I'm still thinking about the feedback that I am thinking about now about it. Because when you talk about Gaza, it's a special place for themes and topics. If you want to talk about art, if you want to pick a story, you go to Gaza. It's everywhere, every corner, every street. You can find stories belong to art. Sometimes it's hard stories, sometimes it's painful stories, and sometimes it's just lovely stories. It's life, no? So let's watch the movie, and I will share with you my feelings toward this as a therapist, And this will open a door for discussion for all of us, because until now I didn't find answers for the questions that this makes me questioning myself about it. So let's watch it together, and we will continue after.
Thank you.
فكرة الفيلم تبعنا بتحكي عن الأحلام. إحنا اخترنا موضوعنا عن الأحلام لأنه كل إشي بنسترجعه في الفيلم، أشياء البيوت المهدد، الأشياء هذه إحنا نفسنا ترجع لنا. رسم الفيلم لما تنام الحرب في ولد راكز كتف البنات، والاثنين هدول نايمين، الروح بطة تطلع على السماء. وبنشارك هذا المهرجان مع زملائنا في فرنسا. في معبد رسالة لأطفالنا في فرنسا، إذا بدهم مساعدة منا أو يعني مثلا نرسل لهم أي إشي إحنا مستعدين. بدي أروح عندهم. أنتوا لازم ترجعوا هالبيت. أنا بحكي بالفيلم هذا بيتنا، لأنه أنا عندي بيتنا انقصف أول بيت بالحرب، في إلي ذكريات كثير فيه، بحلم فيه كل يوم. هاد بيتنا، هاد أبوي، وين ماما وإخواتي؟ بحلم بدارنا وزعلت لما انهدت. عشان هيك بالفيلم بحكي هذا بيتنا. ألواني بتذكر كل البيت، وغرفتي كمان، وغرفة ماما وبابا، وألعابي وأنا صغيرة وأنا كبيرة، وكل الأغراض اللي عندي. احنا استمتعنا كتير بالجلسة وتعرفنا على بنات كتير. الإشي الجديد اللي احنا كتير حبيناه إنه نعمل فيلم مشترك بيننا وبين زملائنا اللي قعدنا بفرنسا. مرحبا أصدقائنا في فرنسا، احنا مبسوطين كثير لأنه انتم شاركتونا في هذا الفيلم. احنا حاسين إنه بيننا يسر جميل من الخيال والرسوم. Şükran enkum şaraptuna hada film.
Merhaba çocuklar, biz sizi çok seviyoruz. Sizi hiç unutmadık. Bu savaş bitsin artık. Sizin için çok üzülüyoruz. Bütün dünyaya barış, kardeşlik gelsin. Şavansız bir dünya istiyoruz.
من يوم ما نامت الحرب حاسس حالي طاير. ما انت طاير، قصدي طاير من الفرح. بدناكيش، لازم نتخبى. هاي شنطتي، هذا دبدوبي، هاد فستان اختي. الله يرحمها. أحلام الأطفال تضاف هنا. أحلام الأطفال تضاف هنا. هاد بيتنا، هاد أبوي، وين ماما وإخواتي؟
في الجنة.
بدي أروح عندهم.
أنا جاي معك.
انتوا لازم ترجعوا هالجيت بدية ومحمد ولارا اصحوا.
لما تنام الحرب تصحى الأحلام.
Thank you. It's a great honor for us to be perhaps the first audience to this film, and it's beautiful, but it's so moving, and it's almost incredible what has been managed and how these children are talking in such a clear way. So again, I look forward to come back to the conversation between us, and because many of you have approached exactly how do we meet the children, and amazing. Thank you so much. We're all very moved. Ibrahim, you're a poet, and you use your poetry as a way of both healing and creating understanding for what is Palestine and what is Palestine culture. And we're very happy to have you here today. You live in Oslo, and you have also founded a shop, food, Norwegian Palestine food shop, I understand. So we want to hear more about that too, and even try the food one day. But now we are encouraging you to speak a little bit about how you use your poetry and how you use art and culture in your work. And we will come back also to the way in which this is done in a more healing context as well. So thank you. The floor is yours. See if your little mic works.
It's an honor to be here. Thank you so much for organizing. Thank you, Solidarity Hub, for shedding the light on this. It does offer community and fellesskap, but in the same time, we shed the light on how art can help. To me, it's quite simple, and frankly, it's beyond all the words and terminologies. I love Palestine so much. So I want you to zoom out with me from Oslo Accord, Sykes-Picot, occupation. I grew up with this incredible community in the neighborhood, ancient olive trees, amazing food. And for me, it just comes from a place of a lot of love. I love my homeland. I love my culture. Happen to be educated with this quite divine language, very old, very expressive. Not the easiest life to be a kid in, of course, there's a lot of shades to be Palestinian, as my fellow Palestinians can confirm, but you know, with the challenges and with the obstacles, you also learn a lot. And the gap between us and our normal rights and normal humanity, there is a lot of skills. There's a lot of love. We're pushed to our extreme of emotions, right? And everything. If you're a kid on a checkpoint or a child in Gaza. But with that, you know how to love. You know how to create. You know how to talk. You know how to say no. You know how to leave a movement that is shedding the light on what's wrong in this world. That is the Palestine I associate myself with. I think our cuisine is divine. It hasn't been celebrated through Hollywood or the Orient and the way the West saw us. That doesn't mean that I have to play the narrative that has been forced upon us. So for me, Palestine is ancient olive trees inherited by very beautiful people that are artists indigenously in their land, which is the first artist, as Ard al-Khair, the land of bounty. We got all these amazing fertile trees that we inherited from the Canaanites, from the early Israelis, the Persians, the Greek philosophers. All these amazing civilizations that came and crumbled on our soil, I, as a Palestinian, claim them, and I speak with that voice. Do I let the last 80, the conspiracy from the colonialist powers, or the 80 years of this fragile occupation, despite all the things that they do, which is a sign of weakness, change who I am? Inclusive, loving, sharing, fluent, generous, and hospitable. Where does this land? Is it a boutique? Is it a food bedrift? Is it a few, you can call it art? Is it like the right honorable thing to say in a museum? I let people label, but my job, I'm 33 years old. I am here. I am there. I have incredible community that supports me back home and here. Every time I go back home and say, wow, you know, it doesn't really contradict with what other people said, but it adds to the voices. Wow, how these magnificent people, how are they still able to love and make and create, even though life has pushed them to the limit? But you go home, still people, you know, they're so passionate about life, and it makes, for me, it's like it makes me question so many things, but it makes me question that we are approaching the South in narratives that are developed in the West, and that is fundamentally what Edward Said said, the Orientalism. And I think fundamentally everything goes back to this problem. So just to sum up, my energy is all about, I am very Palestinian. And I'm not going to cater myself to you. I love you so much. I love you so much for standing with me. But my job is to be ekta Palestinsk in all way, on the all levels, and represent the energy of the people back home, at least my friends, my families. And we take it from there.
Thank you, Ibrahim. You have a lot of energy and a big heart. And I think
it's the olive oil. It's the olive oil from Palestine. It's the food.
And that concerns me too, the destruction of the trees. But what you are mobilizing is hope and life and creativity. And it's almost unbelievable that is still possible. As you see, you still find it despite what is happening. That is almost difficult to believe, but I believe you. And that's why it's worth working and fighting as you're doing. So I will now very happy to introduce you, Stephanie. You are also based in Oslo. You came from Germany once upon a time, I understood. And you've been an activist in many different ways for many years. And you have also been engaged in art projects addressing strong social humanitarian themes. And you have a particular focus on people who had to leave, flight, crisis, and distress. So we welcome you very much to share with us some of your ideas in relation to your artistic, creative work. And then we will move over to the conversation between all of us with ideas and what we have in common. Thank you. The floor is yours.
Thank you for having me as well. I'm very honored and proud to be here today as an artist, visual artist, and an activist. I call myself activist for over the last couple of years because I'm in my artwork. I'm trying to figure out how can I help people helping others in countries and share my artwork by selling my artwork and helping people, for example, in Greece on the island of Lesbos in Moria camp and things like this. So this is what I am doing for the last couple of years. And of course, the genocide, the terrible conditions, war in Gaza make my heart broken from the very start, and I must admit that I haven't been thinking so much about Palestine and Gaza before. And now I'm on a learning curve, learning more and more each day almost. And it's a lot in social media right now. And there I started because one day in late May this year, I thought, okay, my artwork is really nice and fine. I paint. I use it as a therapy for myself. And I pick up Gaza themes every day from Instagram. But could I do this with a more global, a bigger movement? Could I arrange something like a type of exhibition? So I put one single post on Instagram in late May, and it was like an open call, and I had like about 300-400 followers. Also I'm a no-name artist in Norway. No one knows me. And I'm very happy because major organizations like Mothers Against Genocide, Doctors Against Genocide, Each Child a Light, several others shared my post. So overnight I got about 200,000 views on Instagram, and I was like, what? And I asked people, I mean, where's the camera now? I asked people globally, actually, also I just put it out in an open call, to paint like squares on paper with, I asked them to paint with the colored theme of Palestine, the colors, also black, white, green, and red. And I said, put it on a 12 times 12 centimeter paper, so it's easy to send to me to Norway. And like I said, 200,000 people, it was shown 200,000 times. But of course, people get connected and they start to send me artwork. So in the end, it hasn't ended yet, but in the end, before I had the exhibition in Oslo, I got from 35 countries about 900 of these squares. And I have several with me today. They are on the tables back there, so you can have a look. I also did a little book about the whole project, how it started from one single post on Instagram to go globally. And of course, you want to know why I'm sitting here today. It's because of this, but it's also because of this is a global movement. You can start with one single post and you can cry out for humanity. You can show your broken heart. You can ask people to join. And people wanted to join me. And I have, with all these art squares, I have letters. So I have a box with letters at home that was also in the exhibition where people thanked me. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for initiative, and thank you for that, because it was like a connection. We got connected together also in this project. And it is called No Silence in the Arts for Gaza. The project is called this, and people sent me paintings, drawings. It was photographs, embroidery, all in this size. And it was not only artists participating, that was also my point, but children came and sent me things, elderly people, communities. I got one big package from Jewish Voices of Portland, Oregon, and I mean, it's, if I can just, this is a story, it's really important to tell, because I was in this exhibition in Oslo, and one Saturday, and a woman came in, running in, and she said, "Hi, I am I can't remember the name, Madeleine from Portland, Oregon, and I want to see my little square on the wall in Oslo. I'm just here for one day. The cab is waiting outside. So she came running in and she knew where her square was on the wall. I didn't know, but she had seen it. And then I said, you know, Madeleine, I think her name was Madeleine, you are right next to Jewish Voices of Oregon, Portland, Oregon. And I didn't know because, I mean, I didn't know where all the pieces come from. So she took a photo and said, I go back and take contact with them and show them I was there and our artwork was next to each other. So I think it's like my artwork and the initiative is like a little stone in the water, and it has done their work in reaching out to others and yeah, community and movement. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. This is such a strong story, and what you say, it doesn't move the world probably, but it really moves people, and I think for those of you who are from Palestine, it must also be a very clear sign of solidarity and people just reacting so quickly. I think everybody's urging to do something. I mean, to have their voice heard, to say what they mean about the atrocities. So thank you very much. Now, Rami and Maya, I'm curious to hear. I hope you're still with us.
Yes.
Yes, that's very good. Thank you. And you too, Maya, there you are. It's fantastic what this technology makes possible. But you have now heard the presentations, and I hope you did see the film too. Were you able to see the film?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Oh, that's good. I'll have some questions for you too, but do you want to initially to say something, a comment or add something to the three colleagues who have now been speaking and presenting their work and ideas? You want to add something to there or comment them, Rami?
I truly enjoyed the different forms and our collective efforts to raise our voices through different artistic platforms. I have nothing really to add because what was presented is impressive and important.
Thank you. Maya, do you?
Yeah, I actually want to thank all of you, everything that you've been done. It's really, really meaningful for us. And Ibrahim, it's that we love our land, yes. And I really enjoyed of your speech because I really wanted to mention this. We grow with the love of our land and we love our land, everything there. It's like, it's part of us. And the meaning of art is also to speak about this beautiful Palestine that we used to be in, not about just the painful that we are now. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you very much. And to the audience, we will in 7 or 8 minutes time do have a little break. But I have a question first for you, Rami, because you started and you described your work also being in using the community and employing different forms of artistic creative work. Could you say a little bit more about your own reactions and feelings about how this has helped heal children, not only in the ongoing situation? I mean, is healing possible at all in the ongoing situation? And how can you plan and think about healing with these methods for children when peace comes, and hopefully it does soon? So if you have some comments or something to add to those reflections.
You know, I would like really to answer it by the journey of Anar really has been initiated, I would say, a couple months before the genocide, back in the summer of 2023. And by then, the need for mental health and psychosocial support has been enormous, gigantic. And in Palestine, where mental health needs and psychosocial needs are really massive, we need to think in different ways and in different forms to tackle the issue of supporting our people. And I think the best two forms that came to my team's attention and colleagues who are putting their lives on the front lines as well is one, that healing happens not only on individual level, but also in community. And it comes back to our heritage in Palestine, that actually we are a culture that functions in community. When we eat together. When we mourn together. When we celebrate together. And for that, when we heal, we really need to heal together as well. And when justice comes, we are ready, we are resilient, we are able to collectively lift each other up as well. And this is why community-based approaches are the most important at the moment, because they give a sense of dignity and a sense of collective need for our community to rise up against oppression, against evil, against genocide, occupation, and injustice as well. What we also have seen is that in the Palestinian culture, if you go back to 100 years ago and 1,000 years ago, what you will see is that when we olive harvest, we sing, we eat together. So community practices has always had artistic expression as an integral part of it. Therefore, we cannot separate the healing process from the art expression, because it's a vital, lively, and important aspect of our culture and identity.
That is such an important point. And what you explain is really that the efforts is to try to keep alive the creativity and the artistic sense, so to speak, in the population through community gatherings, and that it's a matter about not letting this aspect of the Palestinian culture die because of war. That's such a moving statement you said now. And I was thinking about the children, because they need to be socialized into this. They need to take over, and it felt just by seeing the film from Rasmi how easily they engaged in the drawings, in the expressions, and again in the community, because they were referring to their friends, and I see it was in Besançon even all the time. So that is also something that the adult population manages to transfer these values to the children, even under these circumstances. Wow. Mai, do you, because you have been working, I mean, you have your own background from Palestine, you have been working on these issues for such a long time, but how have you felt that your own experience have in some way shaped your artistic expressions and your work on the more artistic scene? If you want to share some thoughts about that with us, what would be?
Yes. So, okay, what I'm doing, my art, it's all about personal experience. And because of what's happening now and what was happening before, it's all about my way to speak is the art, using art. So for sure, before, I was using my art to speak about things that we've been facing, because Palestine, Gaza, even before it was besieged too. So we've been speaking about things like, even with the children, like learning, education, like how the unemployment. So it's way to make us make the world hear us But after this, after what I'm facing with the children, it becomes as a duty because you already know how to deal with this, but they are still learning and they are still don't have this skills to just going through the life, and they want us or they want someone to help them. And not everyone know how to, let me say, direct them, or not everyone know how to stand with them. So they become really, really needy for you because this is what children are. So we used with them activities more than art healing because the children, their work is playing. So we've been linked between playing and healing together. And so I will tell you one story that one of the children in Egypt, after we finished our camps or our healing program, he just came to me and said, "Can you just write down your name, your full name, and just let me know where you think you will be after 10 years?" And my question was, "Why?" And he said, "I want to search on you because I really want to thank you in the future because you make me feel better." And this makes you like, you feel this beautiful energy and you look in this beautiful souls and say that even when I went to Egypt, I was stuck in survival guilt, and this was a really, really, really bad time for me. But I really getting better because of them, and they help you as you help them. So it's like you feel that you really deserve to live because of them, and they want you to be better because of them too. So everything is changed. In this point, everything is changed. Even in your personality, it's changed because you are responsible about this beautiful souls. So this makes you feel like you really want to do more for them, even if you can't. But this is the minimum thing that you can do for them. This make you continue in your life.
It's a beautiful story. And it's about young people who really do think ahead. They haven't lost the perspective of thinking ahead. So that is also so beautiful. Now, the two of you online, you may just rest for some minutes. We will have a 10 minutes break here. We cannot offer you coffee, unfortunately, but I hope you have something at your table, and then we will be back. And I do know I have a couple of follow-up questions to you and to the rest of the panel, and we will also open for the public. So thank you very much. 10 minutes.
Thank you.
And that's me. Who has abducted him? He'll probably come back. Wonderful. Welcome back. And we will give you some time towards the end for some questions and remarks and comments. I'm quite sure that many of you have that. My suggestion is that we stretch the time from 3 to 3:15. Is that at all possible for you? If it's not possible, you can just sneak out. But if we have if the conversation flows in the way that I think it may, we think it's so unique, the situation that we can gather these wonderful people together here, and I see Rasmi too, which is good. So welcome back. So we will see how we manage. But anyway, welcome back to the table. And I was Mai and Rami, we have you with us. Because
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, because I do have a question, if I may, because you are in South Africa now, and you
Yes.
are working on stories and histories. The echo came again.
Yeah.
I was thinking, is there anything in the process that South Africa experienced after the apartheid was well, formally over and democracy came in Mandela and the Truth and Reconciliation? Is there anything that you can learn from that process that you would like to take back to Palestine for peace and justice and storytelling? If you mind, if you want to say some words about that, I would be very curious.
Yeah, yes, definitely. It's, it's amazing. Okay, I'm not gonna say amazing because it's sad reality, actually.
Yes.
But it's good to feel that there is people they face that similar. I'm not saying it's the same, but it's similar from what you lived. And this make them feel on you, feel you like they really, really, really know your struggle. And this make them more humanity. Like they really feel what you are facing now, what your people facing now. And they always, always tell you that you need to have a little bit of patience just to keep going, and you will face that. A lot of them activists, and they have this beautiful energy that make you feel that you are at home, because they always make you that power, give you that power that tell you everything will getting better because we already faced it. And this is really a huge thing, that what they are going through, it's really big. And the apartheid here, it really did a really bad, very bad situation for the original people, the owner of the land. But when it's going through, when it's gone now, it's much better. And they really know how it will. They always say resilience is so important, and they do ways to resilience. They will act as an activist, they will act as people that they faced it, they know how it goes, and they feel you, they know that everything will getting better. And this is like you still thinking that if these people know how it is, so for sure they will know how it will be. They will know how to stand with you.
And perhaps what was wise and what was not so wise in the process they had. Probably there's things to learn from also.
Yeah, definitely.
I think many people said that the whole Truth and Reconciliation was so important because stories were told. And I think
exactly.
that's where you are.
Yeah,
very much.
Exactly.
Thank you very much. I'm sure we will come back to this. I wanted to, because we saw your film, Esme, and it was extremely moving. And of course, in many ways, it seems quite obvious that yes, with children, one works with art and creative work. But on the other hand, it's a big step to take, and not all of us would be comfortable with it because we don't have those talents. But could you please explain a little bit more about how you feel that you have really made a difference in relation to using animation, using film, using those kinds of expressions in your work with children in war? Yes.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that I'm totally agree with Rami about what he said just before the break. That we about the fact that we are living together, we are eating the same food, and we must heal together. I totally agree about that. And I will take this film as an example because I did not show the other half of the film, which it is the workshop that I did with the children in France. I mean, we did the same story, but in another way. It's the same story, the same, even the title of the film. It's the same. It's when war sleeps. It's the same. But I would like to say something about how people in Gaza, in psychological level, how they survive during the war. Actually, there is three topics. First one is to be close to God, to pray and to feel a little bit, you know, in a spiritual way, to feel that they are safe and they are, you know, they are good with God. And so this is the first one. And the second one is humor. The most beautiful jokes we create in Palestine, it was during the wartime. Because when we talk about jokes, we talk about contradictions. So it's a kind of life. It comes from our lives, the humor. The third one, which is I'm going to talk about, and connected to your question, is helping each others. Because you know, unconsciously, the people, they are helping each others, but it's like art. Art is an action. It's an action and reaction. This is art. This is what we call it drama. Drama is to do an action and to have a reaction in a simple way. So when you help someone, it's not, the help is not only for the one that you help, it's for you. It comes back to you. So it makes a kind of balance on terms of psychological well-being, you know. Connect this to children. And I really don't have so much answers about, I'm still thinking about what I did this week, you know, because it's the first time I opened the line between two groups. And by the way, the group that I'm working with in France, they are refugees. They are all refugees. No, no. Different groups. There is one of them are from Turkey, and he read his letter to that he wrote to the Palestinian group. You know, so when I was in my way going to the workshop, and I remember that we are starting today, at the same day we are starting a workshop in Gaza, while I'm starting the workshop in France. So I was thinking, why I'm not going to open the line between the two groups? It was like this. It was a few days ago. And then when I reached the children in France, I proposed to them, and they were very happy. And they say, yes, why not? Let's open the line. So when we opened the line, of course, it was a bit difficult, and we will talk about that later, the challenges of having an internet and the connections and all of that. But the first day we could not make it. The second day it works. And this motivation that gives the children this power, you know, to do things because they want to help others. At the same time, they were helping themselves, you know, at the same time. So it's a kind of mechanism of giving and taking back. This mechanism works for the children as well. It's not only for adults. When we talk about psychosocial, then this is the heart of the work. This is the art that make it possible to tell the stories and to receive a feedback of these stories. And for the children, especially in Gaza, I used to during the past 20 years, I'm making this with children, and I give them all the time the opportunities to come up with their stories. This is what we call it, the safe place that we create for the children to, to be in. Because, you know, when we talk about healing using art, then we have the first point, which it is the current situation that the children are living and the desire that they want them to be there. Between these 2 points, we need to create a secure place for the children where they can feel safe and they can tell their own stories without being judged by others. So this safe place, the animation workshop, the animation methodology is a magic tool for doing that. This is why I come back to your remark that how the children get engaged in few hours, they are inside, this is what we call it, the safe place that we create.
Yeah. And it may almost sound like a contradiction of terms to talk about safe places in Gaza these days. But I've tried that myself as a therapist, visiting prisons, for instance, the most horrendous prisons you can think about, and try to create a little safe space in a cell with 70 people and practically no room. But it's, in a way, it's possible if you try hard enough. So I think that teaches us a lot. But there's one thing that I'd like to ask both of you, actually, and Rami and Mai, if you have some comments, because in their film we see children who are lively, they are engaged, they are concentrated, they're sad. But I was thinking, where's the rage? Because some of you, and you were talking about energy, and I don't know, but I seldom get so angry when I see the news and hear the news from what's happening in Gaza. It can make me extremely angry. And I was thinking that if I can be angry in my safe place here, so angry, what about them whose lives are being, I won't say destroyed, but whose lives are really being threatened in that way? How do you deal with the children? Does it happen, or yeah, some comments, and then of course, Rami and Mai, if you have some to add. But I'd like Ibrahim, do you want to say something about that? You don't have to.
That's a very, very interesting question. And of course, the side effect of all this injustice and all of this hardships forced upon, there will be rage, there will be anger. I think there is something fundamentally important to understand about the dynamics in the Palestinian culture. We don't really see ourselves as that like very separate individual. So just to kind of echo what Rasmi or Rami said, there is this notion that you belong to a family, you belong to a group of people, that you belong to like a village, you belong to. There is faith.
Yeah.
And I think regardless of which shape it takes, it can be Islam, it could be Christian, even before the fabrications of the political system, Jewish as well. There is a sense of stoic presence. We do believe in a cosmic power, that this is maktub or destiny, or that is a fundamental kind of foundation to receive life. And through that, I think we have way more capacity to deal with something that is very outrageous, and we can channel it into something positive, like remaining in our land, like the rage that you know, thing that got destroyed in your village by the settlers, so the community comes together. So in a way, it's like the harsh, dark winter in Norway, but then you have this like sublime, beautiful summer. People find very beautiful ways to channel these emotions, and that goes to the children, that goes in the family. So I think we created, in a spontaneous, innovative, creative way, ways to deal with that rage. And that is within the family and the children. So it is there, but I think it's channeled in places that can actually be a positive force.
And create resilience. Do you think?
Absolutely. I mean, for us, resilience is not, we have a word, probably, you know it, Noura, sumud. Sumud is an active lifestyle of, it's not like, it translates in English to steadfastness, right? But it doesn't mean you're sitting there and you're waiting for something to happen. No, life is tough. You have to go to celebrate that wedding in Bethlehem for your family from Ramallah. You go through the checkpoint, you get humiliated, but then you also somehow find a way to separate that emotion, and then just also be present with the joy. So I think it's and that's what I try to do with my poetry and I want to make this energy relatable to you, the foreign audiences or the people who haven't been there. It's not it's not like a faraway experience. Through the food, through the poetry, through coming together, through the energy, you understand, because in somehow, in some way, every one of us experience that. It doesn't have to be an occupation force coming to you. It can be an unfair situation by your professor in the university. We have it collectively happening to us. But once you bring some olive oil from a land that trees has been occupied and uprooted. But again, they have been also there for 400 years, and all of these emotions go to the hands of the people who make them. And you come and then you taste that because you love olive oil. You understand us really, really well. And that is, for example, something when I share with children back home, with like my Samarbeit or the farmers. It's tough, but then they see hope. Then they see, wow, people love our olive oil. You know, they see us as humans. So it gives hope, it gives healing, but it gives an emotion that actually can reduce the negative emotions.
And I think all those fantastic small paintings given or sent to you as a token, and I really hope that this reaches people in Palestine too. I mean, this is really love and acts of solidarity, very much in line with what you're saying. The little people can do from the outside, but it's fantastic to listen to you. Do you want to add something?
I just like to add something about the fact that we are, as Palestinians, we are living between two facts. The first fact is the continuous of loss, and the other one is the desire to survive with this. And I think our duty as artists is how we could create a life between these two facts, how we can create the hope for people. And one of the things that I experience about the stories, when we turn a story, when we take a story and we make it a movie, for example, or a piece of theater or something like this, we keep it forever, no? Because cinema and theater, it's the memory of stories. It will never be erased, and nobody can occupy the cinema. Nobody can erase our thoughts or our dreams. This is our duty as artists and our intervention for that. Yeah.
It gives a lot of hope to listen to you. I mean, it really leaves, I'm sure I'm talking for many people here in the room, it leaves us with awe that you who in a way represent people who are being treated as unjust as possible are the ones who come to talk about hope, despite, and in knowing what to do to get it there, not only hoping it gets there, but I mean, through your art, through your expression, you create this, you create hope.
Yeah, yeah. I just wanted to come back because I was thinking all the time that I spent here after I watched the movie, because I watched it like you know, I was editing the movie, so I did not have the chance to really to watch it alone. But I was thinking, and I remember one of the girls, she said something, I'm still thinking about it. No, one of the girls said that if you want, and she was talking to her mates in France, if you want anything from us, we are ready to help. It means, for me as a therapist, it means that they still don't admit that they needs help. And this is, you know, it's a quite, for me, it's a quite strange, and it's quite we have to think about that, you know, because during the time that I've been working with children, I witnessed 3 wars in Gaza, and after each, you know, operation that made by the Israeli, the children come to the workshops and they admit that they need help, which is, you know, the big door to help them, because they know that they need help. But now, I think, if I want to analyze what she said, I think the children are still living the trauma. We are not talking about post-trauma.
It's not post.
No, it's not post-trauma. So I think we as artists, we need to, if we take Palestine as an example, and it is a big example, it's really the very hard example if we want to talk about healing and about trauma and about therapy. Because, you know, as soon as I left Palestine, I was, during all my experience was in Gaza, you know, working with children in Gaza. That when I came out, I found out that the children, they are coming from other countries, but they have the same backgrounds in terms of trauma. You see, so they have this common language. They have this common suffering, and so I start to think widely about the children as a concept, not a specific group in Palestine. You know, so. We as Palestinians, we have this kind of, I think you will understand me more when I talk about the experience of shock. We have it. We have lessons. I've been passing through this many times. So we have this. We know that we are traumatized and we can heal. You know, but this time we still in the trauma. And I think, and I don't have answers for that. I think we need to think about developing our methodologies and interventions, tools, I mean, artistic tools, how to deal with the trauma itself, not the post-trauma.
Yes.
See, this is a big question for me. I still thinking about, and when you mentioned that I wrote a book, you know, it was not a book to write. It's sharing my experience with animation, the methodology and the technique and all of that. But now I think this book is becomes old comparing what's happening in Gaza. No, it needs a big development. It needs a big thinking about how we can go further with this content.
It's
That you almost took the words out of my mouth, because I was just thinking about, and I'd like to also to ask the question to Rami and perhaps to Mai too, about going ahead and further, because I was thinking, will there, in your work with children or with communities more in general, will there be any, I mean, how will you be different in a situation where you are feeling that now hope, that now peace is arriving, in contrast to a situation where the war is ongoing all the time and you don't know which house will be the next? So I'm thinking, will there be big differences in the way that you are approaching the groups under these different conditions? Or are you still too much in doubt as to whether, yeah, as to not even want to believe that it may be peace? I feel it's even difficult just to formulate these words.
Yeah. Um, when it comes to children, I really would like to answer your question, but also elaborate on what children going through systematic, continuous violence and oppression in our context. Um, when we're working with children who are exposed to genocide, who are exposed to daily settler violence, who are exposed to military violence on daily basis or weekly basis. It's different from children who have not been exposed to this amount of violence on daily basis or on consistent ways. I'll give you an example of Masafir Yatta in Hebron, for instance, that is exposed to military violence and settler violence on daily basis. People who live there have not been able to really rest for one night without being attacked and being under fire. When we talk to children in that area, when we worked with children in that area, what we have seen and that was very in common with children who has been experiencing detention in Israeli military system. And I would say confidently that this is even more with children who have been exposed to genocide and death for the last 2 years in Gaza. Even more extreme and severe in those cases in Gaza as well. But what we have seen sometimes transcends outside of the spectrum of trauma and the psychological impact on children. But it seems a process of unchilding, a process of robbing children from childhood characters and feelings and emotions, in which when we work with children, we have seen something that also is bigger than traumatic symptoms and behavior, something that these children have been experiencing fast forward, have been experiencing adulthood or in while they are still children. We have seen children who have not been able to think as children, who have not been to feel as children, who have not been playing for so much time. For that reason, when we work with children, we have to acknowledge not only trauma, but what we have to acknowledge that the normalization of oppression and violence that they have seen on daily basis, it became normal and it became part of their character, part of their identity. And that what has been very difficult to deal with as well. This is why healing doesn't take place only in the healing room, because it will take generations and generations until peace, until healing is possible, once justice is possible, and that those children will be able to go back to their childhood and go back to feeling the essence of childhood. In that process, art is really integral. When we gave a group of child detainees a piece of paper to draw, their reaction was very limited. Scrambled lines that didn't mean anything. After the 5th and the 7th and the 8th group session with the children, they started to draw the sun back. They started to draw images of their childhood. And through the drawing, they started to discuss it. And it felt like life came back to them, even though that nothing normal is still there. For that reason, art is not only a healing process, it is a reconnection process. It's a process where we bring children to be children again. We bring communities to experience community again. And I think that's where we really have to put all our efforts post occupation, post justice, to bring our community back again through art and through connection.
Thank you very much, Rami. And I'm looking at Stephanie also because I know this resonates with a lot of her thoughts too. So I will give the mic to her in a moment. But I was just thinking that you said post-justice. I think that also art and that process you are describing can be a part of the process of the justice process, a part of rehabilitation, a part of the redress. So I think it's a beautiful description of the value and the possibilities entailed in using art. But I'll let Stephanie also comment on this because I saw this you became lively.
Thank you. I just thought about the sunbird that you mentioned, and there were some projects in universities in the Netherlands where all the students can draw or cut out sunbirds, and they put it on the really nice. And I hope we can do something like this in Oslo. Would be really nice, and I would help too. Yeah, but yeah, I don't have so much to say actually, but in my mind was one quote by an Palestinian author. I don't know his name, poet, and he said, "Nothing is enough, but everything matters." And that was my mantra in this art movement I started now, because I thought I'm just a little drop in the ocean, but probably I can do something, I can help, and I can connect with people in Gaza or Palestine, and I can show both my own art and the art of the people around in the world, because there is a lot of art going on now. It's just wow, it's just explosion now especially in the at Instagram, yeah. So people want to draw and paint and take photos, do theater, poems, songs. It's a healing space for us as artists, but also for like normal people. And I have this grandmother in the UK. Her name is Judy, and she sent me beautiful art. And she said I inspired her to put tiny art pieces. I think it's in Newcastle. So she's going around in Newcastle with tiny art pieces, not that big, and put it on walls or everywhere. And next day she come, and then inspired of Palestine. And then next day when she come back, it's gone. And it's not always gone because people are angry or so, but it's gone. And then it's also a community in that where this old lady is doing, and so it's like a spider web. You can start with one single string, and then it can expand. So that's my hope for this, what I'm doing and all we doing together also.
I'll give it to you in a moment, but just a little comment. More than 40 years ago, I was doing some training in Birzeit and in Ramallah, and I stayed there for quite a while. And then one of our Palestinian friends gave me a book that he had written. I can't remember with poems or novels, but the book was called "I'm Still on Vacation," and the front page was a tent. I'm still on vacation, which strikes me. There's so much humor despite everything. I remember some of the ladies, they said to me, "Oh, you should buy these shoes. They're wonderful at checkpoints. Oh, I always have these nuts. They're wonderful at checkpoints." I mean, just having those imagination and thrilling comments. So I thought there should be a book on humor also in dire situations. Yes. Yes.
A friend of mine, he called me and he said, "Now I can see the beach from my window because everything is destroyed, you know." It's, I can see the beach. He was, just laughing,
Nobody's selling.
And it's full of, it's a lot of humor,
I'll give you the And while Ibrahim is talking, I also am aware you may want to say something too, but I want you to prepare your questions or comments so you can have a chance of asking directly to this wonderful group of people. Yes, that's true.
I have the fancy gadget. People need to laugh, you know. The people want to laugh. It's very simple, right? But I just want to add to the discussion about art and the importance of art for children. For us as well, it's so for me at least, as a Palestinian who creates something through the boutique or through the food or through the poetry, is to preserve our authentic identity that is larger than the occupation and the genocide. It's so important. Why? Because I want the children back home. And some people work with children directly. They would know more than me. And their feedback, please chime in and tell me. They're hungry. They're hungry to be normal. They're hungry to have Palestinian artists or poets that talk about something that is beyond the occupation. So I think it's a duty to preserve what's beautiful, because all of this is going to end. All of this injustice, it must end. I like to believe that. I like to cling to that eternal dream. But I want that child in 50 years to wake up and say, yeah, this is possible. To be very Palestinian, not defined by occupation. So us right now, we have to create that space, that beauty, and pass it on and make the children imagine that. Because what occupation does, beyond the checkpoints and all of the hardships and the genocide and the bombing in different shapes and colors, it kills imagination. So it's us, the ones who are lucky to be in and out or to have a little of a breath, is to create, to cling to the positive things and protect them and preserve them. So the next generation of us can actually build on or innovate. And we don't, and then when we do this, we come together with someone like Stephanie, who creates that other. So it's like the different side of the coin, but also we make it relatable to others. But we make the children outside understand the children inside. I think that the path forward to healing, to freedom, to everything, it comes through celebrating the Palestinian human story beyond what has been forced upon us from all that, like these ultimate powers that they don't really look through empathetic eyes. So I think it's such a duty, but for me, it's also coming from a place where, because the purpose is very clear, you find healing, but also you find so much joy in creating. So it's both. It's like very sublime. It's very sad, but it's just so incredibly beautiful. There is no fragmentation between the emotions.
No.
And I think that is very unique. And again, as someone said, it's like Mai said, it's so sad, but it's so beautiful. And if I can explain to you what is it to be a Palestinian child or be Palestinian, it's so beautiful, but it's so sad.
No, I think that's
the jokes comes from this moment. The humor comes from this moment. How to use when we make projects and we write projects, we try to take the crisis and to turn it to an opportunity. And this is what we are doing with art. As Brahim said, we take all this sadness and put it in a beautiful stories, to share it with others, and we leave it for others. It's not. We are not. We don't wait when we make this art. We don't wait answers from people. We just share it.
What is so extraordinary in this situation is that I can understand that people 50 years after the war ended, one sits down and look back and make some painting and art. But this is ongoing, and still, it is No, that's why, I mean, that's why it's so extraordinary that all these things go on despite of, it's not looking back, it's really trying to look up and beyond, which I think it's so impressive, and also very moving. But I'm quite sure that people are full of both hearts that are beating and voices that
Okay, I don't want to forget that about the film, why we choose this title for the film. Because, you know, the animation process is full of details. It's full of details, starting with the imagination, as Ibrahim said. Imagination, it's based on imagination. But regarding the title of the film, we discussed with the children that when the war is ended, it's not. They said, no, it's not, it's bombing. So they, within this discussion, they come up when the war sleeps. Because it's sleeping. Now, it's sleeping, you know. Even it's not sleeping, you know, it's bombing everywhere.
no, it's not sleeping. Yes, Mai.
Yeah, can I add something?
Yes, please.
Regarding to the angry that you mentioned before, I think because we raised in place that we know what's happening and what happened in the past in our land. So we already grow and we know that we need to love this land and we need to fight for it. There's settlers, they want to take it. So we all raised in, and we already know this. And also, if you think about it, for the children, if they didn't find who they could be angry with, they will never be angry. So if for these children, when you give them this tool for, let me say, lost child, and he want anything to be angry with, if you give him this tool, art, he will know how to use it, and it will be so helpful for him. So for me, yeah, art is really important for children more than us because they need to express about themselves and they really don't know how to do it because everyone around them, because you know, the most important thing that I heard in this genocide from people that I know in Gaza, that they always say, we don't have time to be sad or to be angry because we already have other things to do to survive. That's it. They just want to survive. And even after it, now they also still struggle to get the same thing that they used to during the situation that in genocide, they still struggle the same. So they still don't have time to just express about things. And here we use art.
Thank you.
I'm totally agree about what you are saying, Mai. And I just noticed during the war, because I still have my family there, and I made 2 films with my brother, documentary films. I noticed that, of course, all of the people in Gaza are traumatized, but in different levels. But people in Gaza, I mean, adults, parents, they don't have time for their children. This make it more complicated in these circumstances. They don't have, they want just to survive, as Mai said. They don't have any conscious that their children, they needs help. They don't have this. They don't have time. They don't have the abilities to help their children.
Exactly.
I think, and that's also the observation, because they want to, but they are limited because of the situation. And that's why Beate and the Solidarity Hub developed also as a kind of a support to parents. What can they do? Because yes, there's a lot of problems among the children. I remember the Gaza Mental Health Center was working a lot with children who were they were not dry at night, and there was an extreme growth of children who could not just, they were bedwetting throughout childhood because of the war situation. But we have some few minutes left, but I would, and I'm sure that there's some comments, questions, or anything you just want to share. You're very free to do that because I'm slowly going in for landing, and I will thank all of you, but I want to give the opportunity for you to say something, comment, or thank the panel, or whatever you want to do.
While people preparing their question, very quick. Just imagine with me how we are Norway or any other like modern society as young parents. We barely have capacity to take care of our children here. So imagine back home, people also live in a very modern hamster wheel life and genocide and occupation. Parents in this modern time, they don't have time to take care of their children in the capacity possible. So just like to working parents, we're struggling for the career. It's like our, so imagine that with occupation. Just I want you to also fathom all of this hardship.
But I remember parents telling me that, we have to give 2 mobile telephones to our children, one on the Palestine and one on the Israel line, because if the Palestine breaks down, we need to know where our children are. So they need to be attached to the Israeli line too. I mean, yeah, that's care in modern times in war.
Yeah, that's very complicated.
Yes, Beata.
Yeah, I want to maybe reflect a bit on your experience with the French Gaza workshop and what the child in Gaza said. Tell us what help you need. And so it reminded me of the COVID time when we babysitted our niece in LA, and my sister had to give online lectures, and we were taking care of her. So I think there is a lot of potential in this kind of connection, that we could maybe think more about creating connections between children, different children groups, and children in Gaza, and have them co-create, discuss, and really stress this mutual learning. So it's not a one-way street, right? There can be help flowing in both directions. And as you said, that help and humor are so important for healing. I think they can mutually feel that they are helping each other, and that is the magic of human connection, that by helping others, we help ourselves. And yeah, just some thoughts.
I don't know if you want to reflect on that question before, or maybe I can just jump in.
Reflections of
Okay. So I think like one of the most beautiful thing that I feel that has come out of this is also looking at Palestine and the whole survival, not only as a struggle, but also the power and the beauty, the authenticity, the old civilization, and how much it has given to the world, and it continues to give. So I think that for me, that's also very empowering, but also very humbling at the same time. So yeah, I'm just like, wondering, especially what you said, Ibrahim. I think it's also about scholarship, right? So how colonized we have become in the modern times, in a way to kind of like, looking at whatever infrastructures of digital and other ways we look at, but also how to deconstruct that and look at all the other sides that are not that visible. So I'm just wondering, like, as scholars or as academics that teach in classrooms, how can we also bring that forward? Of course, like, then there is literature like Edward Said and many others, and they have done brilliant job, but also like how to connect it directly to our students. And I think sometimes our students, especially in Global Minds, they do much better job than we do, and we continue to learn a lot from them. So is there anything that we as teachers, as scholars, could do better in our classrooms? Of course, practitioners, of course, they are doing much better than we are. But how can we do better, if there are any reflections on that?
I think very simple. Thank you so much for what you said. And the question is kind of very intriguing to answer. But I think overall, What happened is a lot of fragmentation. Forget it, yeah. Forget it. Like if we zoom out, it's a lot of fragmentation. These powers, they come from a place where we are so different. We're so fragmented. It's so far away. They're very different humans, and that's actually the occupation's policy. They take us to a level of sadness and hardship that we have to share in an indignifying way. Please help us on social media. But that, with years and years and years, create even a larger barrier between you and the person there. So how to fight that? Not by doing the same practice, is actually by creating around love and hope and positivity, and also empowering the people that are there. That's what I'm saying always, like whenever like we get invited to speak. It's so important that we use our privilege here to empower the voices there, so we can learn from each other. We are living beyond Palestine. We are living in a very, very connected world. We are still thinking in ways that are post World War I. Fragmented countries, schooling, but now with technology and with our overlapping values, I think there is room to create each one in their field, art, academia, to create tools that will overpass all of these legacy infrastructure that feeds on the differences. And I think from that value, there is a lot to do. A lot. I would say if you're a professor, for example, in psychology, the first thing I would do, I would reach out to all the psychologist professors in Palestine. And I will say, what do you guys need? How can I make your experience relatable to me here? But as you said, like, while we are connecting, we learn from each other. And civilization has told us that we are not fragmented at all. Coffee, qahwa in Arabic, it came from Ethiopia, the cardamom from India. In Baghdad, I met a guy from Baghdad, he left, Muhammad, he's a student here. They made this amazing drink. Coffee, kava, Ottoman Empire, Vienna, kava, coffee, qahwa, coffee. But we drink the same thing, we're both obsessed with it. There is room to think that we're one. Blue eyes, brown eyes. If we think that like level of utopian values, and we come with strength, and art and academia become the dominant institutions, the philosophers rule, and not all these like capitalist powers, and then we connect, we bypass the system, we can create a beautiful movement around unity that is transcending all of these mediocre ink on paper, subjective reality that has been created only in the last 40 years. They made us stop imagining a better reality because we don't have space. We're so busy. I think if we have that as like a foundational layer, what is my expertise? Psychology. I think there is so much to do in terms of empowering people in that, and not only talk on behalf of them. I think that's the most important thing to decolonize the mind. Really, and learn from each other, and not take the only, for example, Western academic knowledge as the ultimate Bible, which I studied in Leeds. I got a master in Leeds. That's why I'm here. I'm speaking English because of that. But we forgot like that 300 years. If you want to be a scholar in the world, you have to learn Arabic. You see, for example, the Palestinians, they're not Arabs by particular, but we are by language, because that civilization was. So you see, when we talk, we start to find so many overlaps that can create a lot of fellesskap and a lot of healing, but solutions of an imaginative reality that is very possible. And from there, you take energy. You take these dark clouds and you turn them to almond blossoms. Why not?
Yes, it's poetic and it's so warming. And I just wanted to tell you some interesting things, because yes, we are in Norway right now, but the group behind this initiative It's a very international group of students in Global Minds. We have people from all continents, even in the room now, in the group that was developing this work. It's really international, and I think perhaps, and now that's just my guess, but for international groups, it becomes even more important to have something that connects you beyond language, music, art, even poetry, because sometimes it's easier to read than full sentences. So that's a way also I'm now starting to thank the group, because they have been working for a long time with a very, very warm heart and a very strong initiative, because they wanted this to happen. First of all, it's a strong solidarity with the Palestinian people, and dreams and hope that the violence must end and peace can start again. But it's also to acknowledge so strongly the work that's happening right now, and that you all are a part of, both Rami and Mai and Ibrahim and Ramzi and Stephanie. So I want to, on behalf of Solidarity Hub and the Global Mind Program, and I would say University of Oslo Psychology Department, which actually also has a lot of interest for fighting for the right things. We had a big Ukraine meeting right after the full-scale invasion, and international work has been on the agenda for this, not only recruiting students, but also doing something beyond science. And personally, I'm involved internationally on science diplomacy in psychology, and I'm very much, and I can say we have UNESCO behind us when we say that science must be used far beyond just technology and easy things to see. It has to strengthen humanity and security and peace and a future which is good for all of us. So with these words, I want to thank all of you. Yes, you wanted to. Yes.
Coming to a really good summary, so I don't want to.
Yes, but I have just one sentence left, and I can take that when you have.
It's a question, and it's
just
yeah.
It's to you, so I'm just going to give it to you back. I was wondering, you spoke a bit about that rage or anger, and I think it's something that maybe a lot of people have had, especially if you're from a distance, because what else do you do? I was wondering if you've had that at the university, academic or department level, and if so, how you've dealt with that.
Well, personally, I've dealt with rage in the therapy room mostly, as a psychologist working with victims of torture, survivors of torture, also in prisons. But the very strange thing is that when people are met in a dignified way, things happen to the rage. That is, I mean, I'm not saying that this happens immediately right away, but I think that Ibrahim and Rami and Rasmi have actually described this process quite well, I think, today, that it's possible to move on from rage. But yes, it's a part of the reaction in the system.
And your rage?
My own.
You've had it.
Oh yes, I've had a lot of rage. I've been angry for 50 years, and I've done a lot. I wouldn't perhaps call it rage. I would call it very intense solidarity. But driven sometimes from, I must confess, every time I've been to Palestine, I've been both sad, hopeful, and angry. Angry at the injustice, the incredible injustice.
Yeah, can I elaborate here?
Yes.
You know, sometimes we expect the oppressed to always act in this soft ability to deal with the unnormal circumstances that we live in. But yes, we do get angry, and I think the world has been angry about the genocide in Gaza, and sometimes I feel it's our right to be angry. We have to be angry because if we do not, if always we are very careful with our words, if always we are very careful with how we react to the injustice, the killing of babies in Gaza and everywhere, such violence will stay. governments will think that we are okay with it. So we have to raise our voices. We have to be angry. It's also our way to heal ourselves, because what we have seen is beyond any human experience. It's nothing normal, and sometimes it's a very normal reaction to an abnormal experience.
Thank you very much. I think those words are such powerful closing words, actually. So I want us all to remember the right to protest, the right to be angry. But also the right to hope. And I think the film we saw today was a very fantastic contribution. I'd like to hear more about how we can see it again and how we can show it to other people. Thank you very much, all of you, for coming. Keep up the good work. Keep up full solidarity with Palestine, and all the best to all of you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. I want to say thank you to the panelists. Thank you to Noura for being such a great host today. We got you a little chocolate as a thank you. Thank you, Stephanie. The panelists have been introduced. I just wanted to say also a few words about Noura. Noura Sveers has been a long-time collaborator with Solidarity Hub, together with MHHRI and Elizabeth. So HHRI is Mental Health and Human Rights Info. You can easily find them online and learn, and they have lots of good material for working with victims of war and conflict. And yes, I can recommend this, and I hope we keep up the good collaboration.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for this. I'll wait my chocolate to come to South Africa.
Maybe we can take the but they might as well. Oh, I will say something that we can do
Sit.
You can sit or we can stand.
Rami, I'm sorry.
They just like I think you can put them on the screen. They just lost it. They left the cookie.
I tried to give her limits to online, what you can send online.
Yeah. Oh. These are they're not everyone. Yes, everyone is. Remember to go down. Also good at Elizabeth, you're also in the conversation. Sorry.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for sharing with us.
So important. Thank you so much.